following program is an exclusive Disruption Networks production.
So you just bought your dream home, and now it's time to move. Let's face it, nobody likes to move. All the packing, unpacking, lifting, upstairs, downstairs, and broking everything, including your back. Let the professionals at EJA Moving Company take all the stress and pain out of your move. Competitively priced moving, relocation services, office moves, and complete packing and unpacking services. They work with everybody to make it simple and easy for you to move and relocate. Call EJA Moving Company at 315-335-0516. When it's time to relocate, have EJA Moving do all the work for you. Hit them up online, ejamoving.com.
Want to know what's going on at the D? Hit up DisruptionNetwork.net and check out our events calendar brought to you by the Events Co. Find out about upcoming guests, special events, concerts, show schedules, community activities, and more. Get connected at DisruptionNetwork.net.
Join us Saturday, February 8th through the Disruption Network 3-year anniversary party at the Jewish Community Center, 2310 Oneida Street in Utica, New York. Musical acts include Annie in the Water, acoustic performance by Haley Jane, Trampoline Jetstream, and Live Noah. Haley in the Water will cap off the night covering Fleetwood Mac's hit album, Rumors. Party kicks off at 6 p.m. There will be beer, wine, food from Doughboys Barbecue, and Holy Pizzoli. Saturday, February 8th. For tickets, visit our website, DisruptionNetwork.net.
Disruption Networks.
What's cracking, everybody? It's hump day. What a hump day, you know? You would want to do some humping, but it means you're almost over the week, people. Almost there. Maybe you should do some humping. I suggest it. Just being a goof today. Fueled on Utica Coffee Pistachio today. I love it. I love this stuff so much. Thank you to my friends, Frank and Heather over at Utica Coffee. WakeTheHellUp.com. That's their moniker. That's their slogan, and they really mean it. Karl Ermisch in the house with me, photographer extraordinaire. He's drinking up the Utica Coffee. In fact, Karl and I meet over at Utica Coffee often. You digging the pistachio today?
Oh, I love the pistachio.
Isn't that good?
You know, anything, whatever they've got on tap is what I love.
What's your go-to?
I like Jamaican Me Crazy and Cannoli. Those are two of my favorites, but the pistachio is great.
Yeah, man.
You know what it is? I love the brand. I mean, I love Frank and Heather. So it's like if they were making coffee tea bags and running 8 cups through it a day, I'd still drink it.
Heather used to beat me up when we were kids.
She probably still can beat you up.
She could still beat me up. They're great people. I love my friends over at Utica Coffee. Check them out, WakeTheHellUp.com. They've got some really cool merchandise, too, so check it out. Support our friends. Also support our friends over at EJA Moving Services. When you're ready to move and relocate, hit up Eddie and the crew. Those guys are logistic dudes. Like, I'm going to hire them for my summer concert season this year, I think, just to have them move all the gear that we need to move, because they're awesome. You just point in the direction and they do the work, and they're very coachable and they're so easy to get along with. And you can have them move your company, your gym equipment, or whatever by calling them at 315-335-0516 or hit them up, ejamoving.com. Also, much love to Utica Hemp. Stop living in pain. Check out CBD, uticahempco.com. You into CBD at all, Karl? Have you tried it?
You know, I tried some maybe a year ago. I don't even remember what the brand was, but a photographer friend of mine from like Ohio was involved in that. And I tried it, and I kind of liked the results, but I never really pursued it as a regular thing.
Do you have some ailments?
Oh, we all have ailments.
No doubt. I got mental ailments.
Yeah, right. Well, no, I don't have too many of those, but oh yeah, I'm 60, and I wake up with achy joints and this or that.
Yeah,
so I think the science that I've read on it makes perfect sense, and people can get kind of bent out of shape thinking that there's THC in it, which there isn't. But
well, for real CBD to actually work, there should be a touch of THC in it.
Oh, okay.
Just a touch of it, not much.
Yeah, but not anything where like you would take a daily dose and be stoned.
Right, exactly. Right. It's not going to knock you out.
Exactly.
Though you take a lot of CBD, like what I'll do is sometimes take a couple drops full of it, and it will make me sleep great throughout the night.
Yeah, like a full potency.
Yeah. I'll get a full 8 hours. I don't get 8 hours. I'm lucky if I get 4 hours sometimes.
Yeah.
But the CBD definitely helps me sleep at night. But I got to take a lot of it though to knock me out. But I'll take a little bit because I have arthritis in my right foot.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, and a couple drops of the CBD, and I don't feel it. Helps the body move along throughout the day. That's
yeah. So I might revisit that. Did I see recently that Joe post that they have opened up a 5th location in Rochester or something?
They're in the Rock now.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, they're spreading the Utica hemp all over the place. I'm proud of them, man. They're doing some great things. And we're doing an event really, really soon, too, that we're going to be helping out a friend of ours in need. And we'll post about that and talk about that as time goes along. But Karl, it's good to see you, man.
Good to be here. I when you sent me the message yesterday that you had an opening, I was like, hey, Providence moves in a lot of great ways. So here we are. I'm psyched.
I had my guest canceled, and we had a meeting going on today. I'm like, you know what? It'd be cool if you let's bump it over to the podcast and hang out and chill. So I'm glad you could come and hang out. You've been doing photography for how many years now?
It'd be 38 years professionally. I'm like I said, I'm going to be 61 in March. I picked it up as a hobby when I was about 11 years old, so 50 years. And
what were the cameras like when you were 11 years old?
Well, that's what's interesting. I just recently did a live workshop trying to explain to people because, a lot of people have digital SLR cameras and they're stumped by the technology. They don't really understand how to make the camera work. And the interesting thing is the very first camera that I bought off a newspaper photographer in Hudson, New York, which is where I grew up. And so, newspaper photographer was professional equipment. It was a 35 millimeter Konica auto reflex T camera. Took 35 millimeter film, and that's what they used, at the newspaper.
What was the price tag on that back then?
Oh, I think I might have bought it for $100.
Wow, and there was a lot of money back then.
Let me be fair. I think my father bought it for me for $100. I was 12, maybe 11 or 12 when I got that camera. So, but the thing was that you put the film in, and the film had a certain speed to it. It was ASA then, now it's ISO. And it was the speed of the film, and they were pretty limited. It was like 100 speed film and 400 speed film. That was it. And that was the film's sensitivity to light. And so that came with the film. The only thing that I could adjust on the camera was the aperture or the f-stop, which is the opening of the lens, and the shutter speed. That was it. And yet we took pictures. Life magazine took some of the greatest photographs in the world on manual cameras. Well, guess what? The equipment of today, even though it's got all these extra bells and whistles, it's still all about ISO, f-stop, and shutter speed. Mm-hmm. Nothing's changed. And yet,
other than the technology.
Right, but and all the extra stuff isn't really necessary to get what your goal in a photograph basically is to start with anyway, is a properly exposed image. Now, then you get into the composition and the artistry, the subject matter, the lighting, and all that stuff. But to take a good picture, like these people that have their cameras packed away somewhere because they don't know how to use their camera, it really isn't rocket science learning how to get a good exposure. What you do with it after that is up to you. But there's no reason you should keep your camera, in a drawer somewhere because it's not that hard to learn.
The kids won't know the struggle of buying like a camera with the separate flash and the separate film, and you'd have to put your flash on top of the camera. And I'm talking the little personal cameras back in the day. Remember those? I still have mine.
Do you really?
It's in the attic.
Oh, good for you.
That and then the separate flash, you'd have to put a separate flash in, and then of course you'd have to put in the roll of film in there to take the pictures, and then go develop them. It wasn't the instant gratification age that we live in today. That's for sure.
There's a lot of that, and look, there's pros and cons to everything. Like, I was in a dark room in SUNY New Paltz when I heard that John Lennon passed away. And I used to love being in the dark room. The smell of it, the moodiness of the safe lights, the mystery and the surprise and the miracle of an image coming through the developer and starting to form, and you can see it. And that was cool. But when I consider what I can do with digital photography and a computer today, there's no way I would ever go back to film and dark rooms and things like that, because it's opened up a realm of possibility that was only a dream years ago.
But dark rooms are extinct now, right?
No, they're not extinct.
No?
But if somebody said they were going to open up a dark room here in Utica, I'd be laughing, because it's like that's a business that, depending on how much capital they have, isn't going to last. Well, it's going to last until the capital runs out. They're not going to find a market for that. So,
is there a dark room in Utica?
there probably is
maybe
one
in a school or something.
Yeah, maybe at a school, Munson Williams, maybe, but I don't know. They may be all digital by now as well. So
It's moved so fast, too.
oh, it has.
It's moved. But I feel like there was a time period where it didn't move. And then all of a sudden, maybe once we hit the 2000s, it just exploded. Do you agree on that?
Well, I agree on that from the perspective of even take iPhones.
Uh-huh.
20 years ago, your cell phone was a shoe, and now look at their computers that are more powerful than the computers that were in the room of MDS when some of these local people made their millions. You remember MDS was Mohawk Data Science was a company that was into computers and stuff, and there's a lot of people that made a lot of money through that. But computers far less sophisticated than our iPhones would fill this entire room. And so when you consider how quickly technology, it's growing exponentially. I had to laugh about that today, because I was thinking, when I look over the course of my career, 38 years, and I think of how things changed in those 38 years, a lot of the younger photographers that are around today, they have no idea what they're going to be looking at in 20, 30, or 40 years of their career. I mean, who knows?
Right.
We've seen beta testing on glasses that have, iPhones in them and Apple glasses. And Ryan Miller over at Thinkubator, he had a pair of these glasses, and he let me try them. You could literally take a photograph with these glasses just by blinking.
Wow.
Yeah. So who knows what they're going to come up with. The only thing I know for sure is they are going to come up with something.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be mind-blowing.
Some sort of alien technology.
I don't know. It's going to feel like alien technology compared to
It always
today.
does.
And what's going to be funny is when somebody who's like 23 now is 63 in 40 years, and then one of their grandkids says, "Geez, Papa, you're like a dinosaur. That's so old." Then the young kid's going to have to figure it out when they're 64 too. So it's a fun game though.
Hologram technology is starting to become a thing.
Yeah, cool.
And watch, in about 5-10 years from now, everything's going to be in holograms.
Yeah, I mean, we look at the TVs, like you can get these ULD TVs that are like so sophisticated compared to the big, cabinet TVs we had even 20 years ago. Well, who knows? You might not even have a TV. You might just have some kind of a mini projector projecting a hologram or something. I don't know.
Did you have a floor TV back in the 70s and the 80s?
Oh, yeah. 3 channels, channel down in Hudson, near Albany. It was channels 6, 10, and 13. Mm-hmm. That was it. And those channels are actually still around.
Yeah, for real.
Which is crazy.
Seriously. Remember when cable first became a thing and everybody was rushing to get cable?
Yeah, we saw that day, and that was like, wow, Well, how about having to get up to turn the channel? We got to turn the conversation, because people are going to think I'm ready for the nursing home.
No, not yet.
So,
well, that's the thing too, is like your generation, I feel like, really didn't adapt to the technology, or I should say they're very slow to adapt to the technology. It's hard for them to learn the newer technology, but you don't fall into that category at all. I feel like you are on top of what's going on.
Well, I have to be. Yeah. I have to be relevant, and the stigma that the older generation doesn't adapt to technology, that would be as irresponsible as saying the younger generation is all one way or another.
Right, they're all lazy.
Because every generation has its pioneers and its fall behinds. There's some people in my generation that will never own a computer or never be on social media, and yet because of the industry that I'm in, I do 80% of my work on a computer, and social media is very pertinent. So I have to learn. Does that mean I've mastered it? No. Thankfully, I've got a lot of peers that have mastered it, and they help me through. And I'm not the savviest on social media, but I'm not the worst either. So
right. you know your way around.
I know my way around, right? And it's always growing and evolving. But that's the type of person I am. I mean, I love my history. Okay? I love where I've come from, but I'm less interested on where I've been than I am on where I'm going. You know, it's kind of like our friend AO. You know, AO is of the future. Well, I'm of the future too. You know, I'm Frank Lloyd Wright, the famous architect. They asked him what was his favorite work, and he said, my next one. You know, I like that. Yep.
Just keep moving and keep moving.
Yeah. What's new? What's next?
Big ups to our boy AO. He's out there doing some great things.
Yeah, he is.
Love that, man.
Yes.
Chris Mazzotti checking in. He says MVCC still teaches black and white darkroom stills.
Cool.
So,
Cool.
That's cool. I never knew that.
Yep.
And I think it's important that people, because you said you're part of history, right? You like your history.
Oh,
And I think
absolutely.
it's important for people that are learning photography or learning any kind of trade or any kind of industry. They should learn the history of that thing that they're learning.
Oh, I agree.
You know?
I agree.
Whether it's the music business or photography or radio or any of that, television, whatever it is, nursing, you should know the history and the origins of that, job.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I had that conversation with a young person before about music. You can listen to any genre of music and find, like let's take somebody who is like incredibly great at an instrument, guitar, drums, or whatever. These people, if you look back at their history, okay, they studied the classics. They're proficient in the basics. They didn't just pick up a guitar and start doing all sorts of crazy riffs on it. I mean, they started from day one. They might have been in elementary school plucking away on an acoustic guitar. They went through the ropes. They learned the basics. They didn't get to where they are by skipping the basics,
Yeah, and I tell musicians that all the time. You should know your history.
Yeah.
It's important. It really is. Know where you come from, knowing your roots.
Absolutely.
That's what I love about this area because it's so deeply rooted.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of history here, and I like that. I grew up in Hudson, New York, which is an old whaling port. In fact, Hudson only lost by a couple of votes, being the capital of New York State to Albany, and so history. It's named after Henry Hudson. The Hudson River goes right through it. It's been renovated. A lot of people, it's 2 hours north of New York City, and so a lot of restaurants, art galleries, really high-end money have come into Hudson, and all down the main drag, which is called Warren Street, you'll see like some really great restaurants, art galleries, furniture stores, clothing stores. I mean, it's a great day trip for people that don't grow up there, and for people that did grow up there, it's a great weekend getaway.
Oh, very cool. I never explored Hudson.
Oh, you should do that.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's got a great art center to it. It's got a lot of great stuff, and we can talk more about that, but it's definitely a worthwhile trip.
You spent some time in New Paltz, too. You went to school there?
Yeah, I went to college at
Was
New
it a
Paltz.
hip happening town back then, too?
It always was.
So it
yeah,
always
like
was,
we
yeah.
talked before, I think the original Woodstock was held in New Paltz.
Well, Socrates. Or,
Yeah,
the area.
just
it's all
just
the same.
off that area. I knew
It's north of there, right?
Yeah, well, I knew the plot of land where it actually happened, but yeah, New Paltz was a great place. That's a great place to explore too.
It was very artsy, and they had a good music scene back then as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the music scene back then when I was going to college, like even in Herkimer here where I went, I'm from Hudson, but I followed a girl.
Isn't that how it always happens?
Yeah. She went to Mohawk Valley Community College. I went to HCCC for photography.
Okay.
Well, back then, I mean, I'm trying to think of like Todd Hoban. We used to see him all the time.
Still around.
Playing mix. I know, I see that. And New York Flyer.
Yeah, legendary.
Yeah, who was the band that Ronnie
Ronnie Lee
was with? What was the name of the band he was with?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I see he's friends with my friend Greeley Ford and Classified, but
They all look up to him from back in the day. I've talked to
but
him.
I talked to him in a place it's called Silverado's now, I think. I don't even know if it's still open, but it used to be called the Rustic Inn.
In Herkimer?
In Herkimer. Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing. We used to have that whole big band thing, like Boston, Foreigner, Styx, and a lot of the bands locally were like them. And they would come, they do mixers at the college, then the drinking age changed. I don't think they do mixers anymore. But the local bars all had these bands. And I mean, to actually go, out on a weekend night and hear these live bands, it's just not that way anymore.
No, it's not.
No.
Well, it is, but it's not what it used to be.
Right.
What's lacking around here is venues.
Yeah.
What's lacking around
Right.
here. The talent is still there. In fact,
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
the talent has been off the charts around here lately.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
so many great bands.
Well, that's why. What's the I'm drawing a blank because I wasn't thinking about it prior, but the summer thing, Lynn Michelini used to put it on.
Utica Monday Night.
Yeah. And they'd get all that talent in. I mean, it was great that where there was a lack of it, somebody brought it back, because there is a lot of talent here to showcase.
They have the Levitt Amp series too. That goes
Right.
on Monday with Michelle.
Right.
She's doing a great thing over there.
Oh,
But they're like,
what isn't she doing great
Right.
for Utica?
But there's so much music going on, and it's just summertime. You can find it everywhere.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And there's concerts, festivals. There's so much going on. And now with Lakeview Amphitheater right here in our backyard in Syracuse, you don't have to go to SPAC anymore. We don't have to go all the way to Darien Lake. We've got our own amphitheater
Right.
here, and hopefully soon down the road there'll be one here in Utica as well.
Well, I think when there's an interest and there's an opportunity, somebody with the initiative will bring it forth.
Yeah.
It's just the way it happens.
What are you listening to these days?
In far as music,
Yeah.
I'm going to bore you with that,
No, you're
but
not. I don't think so.
I listen to a lot of gospel music.
Yeah?
Yeah, I sing in a gospel quartet.
Whoa.
Yeah,
What range?
bass.
You're a bass
I
guy?
sing bass, but I kind of talk baritone-ish. Depends,
Uh-huh.
But yeah, no, I love the music. I love the message, and I sing in our church choir. Yeah, it's
Such an experience to walk in on something like that.
Oh, absolutely.
In a choir, and it's a party. It really is. And
We have a lot of
spreading the word
laughs.
of love too.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's a message that gets, there's certain things you can't talk about with people
Yeah.
because actually, it's probably one of the most gratifying experiences for me is when I come across a person that I can actually talk to, real. Not like I got to watch what I say
Right.
or like any topic, because you'd have a hard time offending me. I take people,
Same.
I take people, at face value, and it's like, what you believe is what you believe, and some of the things I might agree with, some of the things I might not agree with, but who cares? It's not my job to be the filter of what you should or shouldn't believe. And so within that capacity, I can talk to you about any topic. And I'm not patting myself on the back, but I don't know that there's too many people that you can do that with. Because again, then we get into social stigmas and that stupid word politically correct, what you can and can't talk about.
Right.
If you're thinking it, we should be able to talk about it.
Right.
So, but
And that started up in the 90s. I know everybody thinks it just started, but politically correct, that became like a phrase back in the 90s when
Yeah.
Clinton was running for office.
Yeah.
Back with the Clinton and Bush, that's when the whole family values and politically correct, and that started to come into preference. And now it's so blown out of proportion.
Right.
It is.
Well, it seems like it used to be a defense mechanism. Now it's a sword. Now it's something people attack people with.
Indeed.
And it's really too bad because in a way it's almost communistic, because if I rally to shutting down your self-expression, I'm a communist. That's what they do.
Seriously.
They tell you what you can think and what you can digest and what you can read and what you can consume, and that's just not the way it should be. Yeah. And again, that under the guise of, like for me, again, being a Christian, I believe in an ultimate judge in that. And so that's his job, is to do that. It's not my job, Yep. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
So.
Only the higher being could judge us, right?
Yeah, because we're not qualified. I'm just as guilty. If I were to judge you about anything, I'm probably guilty of 6 other things.
Yeah.
So that kind of
most of the stuff
disqualifies.
I'm guilty
Yeah.
of.
Imagine going before a judge for a speeding violation. Okay. And meanwhile, he's got a court date coming up in 2 weeks for grand theft auto. Okay. Who would he be to sit there and pass judgment on you? So that's kind of how I think about it. So, Yep.
That's what we try to preach around here a little bit. Be kind to others, and just do unto others what you would like to be done to you. The old phrase from
The golden rule.
Yeah, the golden rule. Or as I like to put it, stop being a dick.
Well, that's always an immediate reaction.
Right.
Yep.
But that's some of the stuff that we'd like to get across around here. And, the world is so divided, and the country is so divided. The world is divided, too. It's not just the country, but there's just, no compromise anymore. And it's like my way or nothing else. And nobody listens to each other. And it's just... I feel like we've hit this portal of just dumbness, if for lack of a better term.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think the sad thing is that I think people look at the events of the world and think two things. One, they think it's momentary. And two, they think it's because of this, that, or someone. Okay, they would cast blame that, it's happening because of he or she, or it's happening because of this. The two things I think is, one, I don't think it's just an event that's here and it's going to pass away. Like, I don't think changing anything through an election is going to alter it. I think humankind is escalating like technology is towards worse and worse and worse.
Right.
Now I do look for the good in people. I look for the good in situations, but I'm not an idiot either. I mean, I can step back from the scene and say, you know what, there is a lot of chaos going on in this world, and it doesn't seem to be truthfully related to any one person or any one event. It's almost like it's happening to all of us simultaneously, the same way technology is in a way. And, I think people need to do more inward work than outward work. Again, I'm going to throw scripture at you, but the one that keeps saying, you see the speck in your brother's eye, but you miss the log in your own eye. First, take the log out of your own eye and you'll see your brother more clearly. Well, the whole idea is, I can sit here and go through, all the things that are pros and cons about you, but it's better to take a look at yourself. Is the world a bad place? Well, it's getting worse. Well, how are you operating in it? When somebody does something to you, how do you react? Do you turn the other cheek or do you vent back towards them? And again, I don't want to come across like a saint. I've had people cut me off on the road, or
but these are all great words that you're
but
saying.
do things on the roads that just get me so ticked off. And sometimes I'll say things in the car that I might not say publicly. So I'm human too. But you have to check yourself first,
right?
And then you'll see other people a little bit more clearly, because none of us are perfect.
None of us.
We're all scarred, and we're all working it out the best we can, suiting up every day, trying to do the best we can. So, but that's actually like how I operate, and it's what I try to bring into my business. It's how I try to live at home. I try to be consistent all the way across the board. I know a great leadership mentor named John Maxwell, who said, if you want to know what a person's really like, ask his wife, ask his kids, ask those closest to him. Because when the guard is down, how they operate is how they truly are. And so I want to be the same guy in public that I am in private, and the same guy in private that I am in public.
Absolutely.
And I screw up a lot.
You and me both, buddy. Well, you're human. It's human nature to screw up.
Yeah.
I mean, we're naturally like aggressive, if you will, or we're naturally going to screw up. We're human. That's how.
What's your biggest Achilles heel? What's the thing that gets you in trouble more than anything?
What gets me in trouble?
Yeah, the most.
Thing. We really want to go there. I have some vices, of course.
No, I didn't ask that. I mean, like I was going to say, the thing for me is my mouth.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, because I'm like quick-witted, and sometimes things come out, and I'm like, oh man, I didn't even think about that, and it just came out like if you throw a jab at me, like insult me on something, I'll have a comeback.
Yeah, you're coming back.
Oh yeah, and sometimes it's not like you just hit me with a feather and I knocked you out, and I'm like, well, that was overboard, Carl.
So you'd probably be good on a roast panel.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about participating in one? We need to roast somebody.
Yeah, it's off. Yeah.
You got somebody in mind?
Yeah. What else do you roast?
What do you mean?
What other things are roasted?
Is this a joke?
No,
I'm talking like a roast panel, like a comedy
and I'm
roast.
using the word roast to take it like you want to roast somebody. Okay, so what other things can you think of that are roasted?
Pork,
coffee.
Okay.
Does it bring anybody to mind?
Frank
Elias.
You think you do it?
No.
Find a charity to get him.
Oh, that'd be great though.
Well, that's how you do it. You do a roast for charity.
Yeah.
They roasted me back in like 2010.
Did they really?
Yeah, it was the funniest night of my life.
Oh, I like watching some of the Dean Martin roasts.
Oh, the best.
Absolutely.
The best. The classic ones are great.
Yeah.
Don Rickles is one of my all-time favorite comedians.
Well, he was probably one of the most sarcastic comedians ever. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he made his entire career out of insulting people.
In every race he would go after.
Yeah.
He went after the blacks, the Italians, the Jews, the Puerto Ricans. He went after everybody.
You got it. Yeah.
No fear, that guy.
No
fear.
I'd like to see how he'd be. Actually, would he even be popular today?
Well, he recently passed away. What, 2-3
No,
years
but
ago?
if he were contemporary,
He was working all the way till the day he died.
gosh,
You believe that? He was going 90 something, well into his 90s. He was still working.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
He just had to drive. He had to go, and that's what he was born to do. But some of those roasts are classic.
They are.
And we talked about before we went on air our favorite all-time television show, which is The Honeymooners.
Oh,
And Jackie Gleason hits a couple home runs on some of those roasts from back in the day.
yeah. Yeah, what's so funny, because his character on The Honeymooners, Ralph Cramden, was like the eternal loser. You know,
Right.
talked a big game,
Yeah.
never succeeded.
Would gamble, would
Yeah.
constantly lose.
And yet Jackie Gleason was wildly successful
Right.
and popular. Yeah, he was great, you know.
Great show.
Really. Yeah.
Art Carney was my favorite, too.
Oh,
Ed Norton was like one of the greatest supporting roles ever on television.
it was so funny just watching him prepare to like write a letter or to do anything.
The golf swing,
Oh, the golf swing. Like,
all that. But the
when you said, "Oh, Buttercup."
I know he's looking for Lulu when he was sleepwalking.
Yeah, right.
We could do a whole podcast on
Oh,
The
yeah.
Honeymooners. In fact, maybe we should one of these days.
That would be fun.
Sit down some night and just talk about The Honeymooners, because I could talk about The Honeymooners all
Yeah,
the
if you
time.
could queue up like different scenes like that, and that we could actually show the scene and then talk about it, that would be a riot.
Yeah. Like back in the day, that was my comfort zone. Like The Honeymooners used to come on like right after the nightly news, like at
Yeah.
11 o'clock. And
Yeah, right.
Honeymooners would come on the rerun, and it'd be done by midnight. And just like by the end, and that theme song would go off. It would put me right to sleep.
You know, it's funny because going back to age, like if I were watching The Honeymooners on MeTV, it would say like original broadcast 1964 or whatever.
55.
55,
It
yeah.
was in the 50s.
Yeah. And so they were actually broadcast before I was born in 59. But there's some shows where it's like, we'll look at it and, you know, it'll be original broadcast 1967. And my son will be like, wow, that's old. I was like, yeah, I saw it when it was live. You know? So, you know, the one last thing about The Honeymooners, like we couldn't help notice like how rude. I mean, just the way it was back then. Ralph said some pretty rude things to Alice
All the time.
But I'll tell you what, nobody stood toe to toe with him like Alice did. She gave it right back to him.
Did.
It was funny.
Classic. That kind of set the tone for all these modern day television shows too.
Yeah.
You know, the family oriented, the husband and wife kind of bickering at each other.
Sure.
They kind of set the tone for a lot of that stuff.
You know, and it's funny how because sarcasm is actually one of the funniest forms of comedy, really.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, who is more sarcastic than Frank on Everybody Loves Raymond?
Right.
Okay, and he was the best character on the whole show. And I mean, most of his comments were like really, really degrading, you know. But we laugh, you know.
Yeah.
So
A lot of sarcasm out there for sure. I got a PhD in it, but sometimes it comes out and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, and you know,
I'm trying to work on how I talk to people.
I try to. I've said some things that I actually, you know what, I think the thing I've gotten better at is making it a direct point to go and apologize like right away and just clean it up because and they've always been gracious about it. I mean, I don't want to give you the wrong impression. It's not like, 6 times a day I'm sending out apology cards, but
What's the best advice somebody ever gave you?
the best advice somebody ever gave me. Gosh, there's a few things that come to mind. I remember when, this girl that I've followed up to college, she actually broke up with me in high school, and I still followed her to college after we got back together again, only to have her do it again. But I remember my father, I was 17 years old, heartbroken, and he said, "This too shall pass," and that's a line, I guess, from Shakespeare or something. But, that was everything passes, so we can't take our successes or our failures too much to heart because things pass, our failures, we'll ride again, and our successes, don't get too filled with yourself because,
Right.
There can be fleeting. And then a college roommate of mine, who's still today a close friend of mine, when I bought my first photography studio, he told me, he said, "Be careful of the small expenses." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He says, if you decide that you need to buy some equipment or it's time to buy a car, I mean, you're going to talk to a bank, you're going to sort this out, you're going to manage that. He said, but the thing that you're not going to pay any attention to is $5 for lunch here, $20 for dinner here, a new this for there, a new this for there. The little things that you're not going to be thinking about, but you're going to be leaking money, drip, drip, drip. And before you know it, you're not going to have any. And that was good advice. So
Excellent advice.
yeah.
Save your pennies.
Yeah, and you see even today, like when I was growing up, they didn't have credit cards. And if they did, I never heard of them. But now, gosh, they're like shoving credit cards at people left and right.
Oh, yeah.
And credit card debt is huge.
It's a cancer.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
We all have it.
We all have it because, we're all human and we all, have that SOS, that shiny object syndrome. Seriously, I mean, I'm a gadget guy. I love gadgets, and it's not just photography gadgets. I love woodworking, and there's always a tool that I'm interested in. I like to cook. There's always some gadget out there that gets my attention.
What's the gadget nowadays that you got your eyes on?
Oh, do you know what Kreg, Kreg?
No.
Do you ever hear of that? Do you know what a pocket hole is?
No.
Okay, it's a way of joining wood together, where you drill a pocket at a 45-degree angle into a piece of wood, and then when you join it to the other piece of wood, it's actually a stronger joint.
So it's like a Dremel or something? Or?
It's not a Dremel, it's a jig. So
like
what a jig is, it's a form that you follow. There's this drill with a stop on it, so you go just so deep into it, and you put your wood in, clamp it down, and you drill into this jig to the precise depth, and you put 2 in, and then there's screws made for it that you then screw it into the piece that you're joining. So pocket holes and joining wood with pocket screws is kind of that. So I've been like,
interesting.
I want to get one of those.
Are you going to get one?
Eventually.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Is woodworking your thing?
I love to do woodworking. You know what I love about woodworking too? It's like when I go on Adirondack trips, and photograph scenic images and stuff, I photograph for myself. Now, I've been fortunate, Faxon St. Luke's and a lot of other places in the area have a lot of my scenic images on their wall up to 8 feet wide, which is really cool to see, something that massive of your own work. But I photograph that based on where I'm at and what I see, what I love. If I were doing your portrait, I still have a lot of flexibility with that because you're going to trust me, with my 38 years of skill and ability. You're going to trust me in what I think about how to photograph you, but I still have to take into consideration how you feel about it. Mm-hmm. And what you want to get out of it, and what your interests are, and how you want to be photographed. Like if you're a guy that likes to smile in pictures, and everything I take of you is a straight face, you're not going to like that. But actually, with your particular look, I don't see a big smile. I could see something really artsy and deep and dramatic, and then cracking up laughing.
I could be a human sushi table.
There you go.
How about that?
Yeah, right. But so then the distinction between what I photograph for myself and what I photograph for someone else. When I do woodworking, my daughters had things that they wanted me to build, like bookcases, or made this rocking cradle when my first grandson was born, and they had a big German Shepherd, so I put it up. It was on stilts, like it was a rocker, and on a stand, so that the dog wouldn't be able to. If it was a cradle on the floor, the dog would be giving the kid a bath the whole time. So I made that, but I told them, when I make these, I'm going to make it the way I want to make it. Mm-hmm. And if you like it, it's yours, and if you don't like it, you can go to Pottery Barn Kids and buy one for yourself. But that's the thing. The woodworking I do for myself. I don't want to do it where I've got to meet someone else's requirements or somebody else's standards. So right. I think you need things like that.
It's a creative outlet.
Yeah, yeah. And you need to be able to create. And I'll tell you, I've thrown more things out than I've made, but that's my prerogative, And that's I like that. My wife is an artist. She's a painter and a potter, and she, will go in and do a session in the pottery studio, throwing bowls and everything, and she has her own concept, her own design. And I've tried to tell her too, don't always, people will say they want a big bowl, but I said, leave it there. Then whatever design you actually put on it, leave it up to yourself. You're the artist.
Do you do pottery with her?
I do sometimes. I tease sometimes, like I'll take a bowl that I threw, you always sign the bottom of your pot, and it's like, I say, wow, hon, this is, man, this is incredible. this I think this very well may be one of your better bowls, and like that. And she's looking at me with that eye because she knows I'm full of it. And I turn it over and it's got my name on the bottom. It was one I threw, but no, she's way better than I am. She's actually pretty incredible. Okay, my wife was the second woman at the University of Nebraska to get her doctorate degree in education.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. Okay, I got a bachelor's. Okay, so yeah. So, and she graduated as a K through 12 art teacher. You know, she did some administrative stuff in her career, but her heart is in teaching and in education. And she even today, I'd built her a pottery studio out at our farm, and she still has students that she teaches.
Oh, very cool. She stays very active in it.
Oh, yeah. She stays active in everything.
How long you guys been married?
20 years.
20 years?
Yeah, it's a second marriage for both of us.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
We live on 172 acres with 3 horses. Gosh, at one time we had like 20 horses, 3 dogs, 2 cats.
Really?
Yeah. But life.
Hey, that country life is good life.
It is.
Being out away, it's nice and quiet out there.
Yeah, we
You got
hardly
your
ever use our
space.
stove. We got a wood stove. We cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner on it. So it's pretty easy.
Get away from society a little bit. You got your space. You can run around your backyard naked if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I feel like just having your space is key.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I don't think, like, I lived in, streets before. I grew up on a street. When I moved here to Herkimer, I lived on a street. When we got married, I moved out to the country. She's pretty much been a country girl most of her life. And I think if I ever tried to put her on a street, I don't think that would happen. So, she needs her land.
Being out there probably has that creative outlet for you too. Just being out in the country is probably some inspiration being out there for you.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Do you
Absolutely.
run around your property taking pictures?
Naked, yeah. No. Yeah, I do. Because, again, down in the woods and everything, we have, quite a few different types of animals that come through. A lot of deer, coyotes. I saw a bear there once,
Did you really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Big one?
Medium size, I'd say, But, he was long distance away, too. But I guess if he got closer, he or she got closer, it'd be a lot bigger. So, but yeah, I like it down in the woods. We have a creek that comes through, and that feeds into Kaiser Lake, which is about a 3-mile long lake. So yeah, there's a lot to see there. You know what I think the biggest part about living in the country is, again, you look at today. And you look at how busy we are. Now, we were just talking before this broadcast how busy you are. You got 9 million things. A cluttered mind is really, it's hard to focus.
Oh, yeah.
And to be distracted. You get so distracted. And when you get out in the country and you get quiet and you get still, you can really start to actually feel yourself think again and breathe again. And that's important. I don't think a lot of people are taking time these days to deliberately get out of the fray for a while. I say this with the portraits of women that I do. You only get one you. Okay, you don't have a spare Anthony in the closet. No, really.
God, I do want to clone though.
I know, but you don't want to clone. What you need to do is you need to actually wedge out that time for you to restore yourself, because you are a man of service. You are a man of vision. You are a man of accomplishment, and that's motivates you in life, and that's a good thing. But there isn't a spare Anthony in the closet, so you got to take care of Anthony so that you can continue doing the things you want to do for the long run, and that's important. I take it for granted, but I get in the country all the time. First thing in the morning, I go out, I feed the horses, and even that's kind of like, on one hand, it can feel like a drudgery. Like if it's pouring rain out and windy, okay, that's a drudgery. But on a nice morning, the sun, I took a sunrise picture the other morning and just threw it up on Instagram. I mean, and a lot of people have commented that they saw the same thing, that what a glorious morning it was. When you're out there and you see that, okay, that's a different thing to feed your soul on than waking up to noise and chaos and all that stuff. So, and we have a choice in the matter. Yeah. So I just think we need to exercise that choice.
You're right. To get out there and have that me time is super important. Self-love, right? And kind of taking care of your body and breathing, clearing your mind a little bit.
Right.
Do you meditate?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, but not like...
Not like sit there in position and breathe.
Right. I mean, what I do is I meditate on scriptural verses that I read in the morning. Every morning we do a biblical devotional. It's just part of our lifestyle. But I've been kind of fascinated lately by this whole how your mind works, and I've read a lot of stuff about that. And I heard for years that we only use like 5% of our brain capacity, but I think that may be true, but I also think it may be something else. So much of what we do in the course of our day, we do subconsciously. We do it by habit. Like even as you drove over here, you know how to get here. You've done it a million times.
The routine.
Yeah, you were thinking about other things. You weren't thinking about driving.
True.
Okay, so you were doing that subconsciously. And so I think that 95% of what we do in the course of the day is subconscious. We rarely have conscious moments. Now, a conscious moment can come to you very quickly. Let's say you get up in the middle of the night to use the restroom and you bash your foot on the bedpost, okay? Conscious moment, okay? You become very consciously aware of pain, okay? But they also say that our habits come from that subconscious as well. And so if you want to change your habits, you have to tap into the subconscious. Well, one thing that I've heard is that where our mind is the most receptive to reprogramming is in what's called the theta state. So like right now we're at an alpha state, we're wide awake and that. Then you have beta states, and the theta state is that state where you, just before you fall asleep, they say that your mind is very fertile for information. And so what I did is I thought if you can listen to a evening meditation or an affirmation, if you will, on pods or something at that time of the night, that could be like greatly beneficial to you in reprogramming your thought life. Okay, because think about it. If you want to know what you're thinking about, look at what the actions are in your life. And if you think about it, a thought precedes an action. So if you look at your actions and you're not pleased with what your actions are, consider what your thoughts are. And if you don't like what your thoughts are, then you have to go to what are your core beliefs. Well, if you want to change those core beliefs, you're going to have to do some reprogramming. And so I thought, well, if these meditations and these affirmations actually can help with that, how much more powerful would it be if it were in your own voice? So, yeah.
Other ways you think you can rewire your brain, other than like meditation and
Oh well, I think actions that you take.
yeah.
Like if you wrote out a course of actions that you wanted to take, that you wanted to produce, deconstruct those actions into steps, and then write it out so that you actually follow it. Exercise is a perfect example of that. If you want to change your body type, I mean, John Bartholomew would be a better one to talk about than me, but I mean, I've been around the block a few times. I mean, I've been to all the gyms and all that stuff. So the thing is, if you wanted to reprogram your body, okay, take a look at your diet, take a look at your exercise, take a look at your rest, take a look at your water intake. Okay, now you can start to say, well, what would be a better alternative? And you can actually write those out. And then instead of grabbing the cup of coffee, which is a diuretic, grab a bottle of water, things like that. So I think you can make a conscious decision to change some of your behaviors. And then, of course, it takes discipline from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the key thing, is discipline.
I try to stop bantering with myself about whether I feel like doing it or not. Just do it. And shut up. Do it and shut up. Because
that's how I feel about with going to the gym every morning. You make it part of my routine. I make it like a job. Like I have to get up in the morning to go to the gym and then come home and then do the rest of the day and just make it part of the routine.
I just wish it's funny how you're always glad you did after you do it.
For sure. Sometimes I have to fight myself to get there, but
always
the second I'm on that treadmill for the warm up, I'm like, I'm so glad I'm here.
Yeah, but that's a human thing though too, because like you would think, because I told you I'm a Christian, that prayer is just natural for me. And Bible reading is natural for me. I can't even tell you how many times I have to like force myself to just sit down and do my reading, because it's a discipline. And
you're right.
And I don't care what the topic is. Discipline. Some people are highly disciplined and some people aren't. I'm not. I have to force feed myself a lot.
Same.
Yeah. That's why accountability partners are so great. Because you support each other. One day of the week, I'm motivated to go and you're not. End of the week, you are and I'm not. So we help each other.
Yeah. Is that your wife? Is she your accountability partner?
Well, I think there's different roles for that. There's certain things that she can't be my accountability partner for.
Gotcha.
And I've got a friend. He's an older Christian gentleman. We'll be meeting tomorrow. We meet every Thursday, and we're accountability partners because there's certain topics that you're just going to talk to another guy about. and not because I have secrets from my wife, but because it's just, there's certain things that, like she has a walking friend that they went walking this morning, and I know that there's certain things that they'll talk about that she might not want to talk about with me, and it's not bad, it's not wrong, like I twice a year I go on an Adirondack hiking, fishing, camping trip with the guys, 3, 4, 5 days, twice a year. That's it. It just wouldn't be the same with me and like 3 girls, It's like, you just go with the guys, and there's nothing wrong with that. Society has made that wrong now, So, yeah, but I think accountability, and actually accountability can have a stigma, like I'm going to hold you to task.
Totally.
But it's not. I think maybe an encouragement partner.
There you go.
Yeah.
Change the word.
Yeah, because you know what? We all need encouragement. None of us is spot on all the time.
True.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Although some people I know are pretty impressive that way.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
There are some impressive people in this area.
Totally.
If you could go back in time and give yourself some advice, what would you tell yourself?
Oh, buy Apple. Yeah.
Buy Apple?
Buy Apple. Yeah. Buy Microsoft.
What year would you buy Apple in?
Well, I started in 1982. And I tell you, they went up and then they went down.
Right.
And then they went way up. Buy Sony. Sony stock is through the roof. Buy gold. I think
Precious
gold.
metals.
Yeah. Gold was selling for something like, I don't know, $16 an ounce way back when. And the last time I looked, it was something like $1,600 an ounce or something crazy. Yeah. Diversify the portfolio. So, but that's, gosh, that, or, I think something I might have done too is I think I might have gotten onto the teaching circuit a lot earlier. You
got into the game late?
In terms of teaching, like this online course business.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm starting to get into that.
Okay.
And I think that would have been something I could have gotten into 10 years earlier.
I get it.
But we get into what we get into when we get into it. So, yeah, like I said, I don't look backwards too many times because I can't change that, but I can start now. So
Excellent words.
yeah, thanks.
That's true.
So when did you start this?
So we're coming up. In fact, I'm glad you asked that. Tomorrow is our 3rd anniversary.
Sweet.
Tomorrow was our launch date 3 years ago in 2017.
That's fantastic.
January 30th of 2017, we launched EC Radio. And radio, because we started off as an internet radio station, and we were playing like music and stuff like that. But then we evolved into this podcast, webcasting thing. And I've made a bunch of series changes. In fact, we started the podcast in that little room right in there.
Wow.
And we knocked out some walls in here and turned it into these 2 studios that we have in here now. And it just keeps growing. And
it was so cool because Utica is really growing.
It is.
And there's so many good things going on. I don't know how oblivious I can be to some things, though. I was coming through the Parkway to get over here, and there's the Utica Welcome Center going up.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about it. See,
I live out. Talking about, right?
Is that where it is? It's the Utica Zoo?
It's right there on the zoo.
Yeah, on the zoo property. Is it part of the zoo initiative?
I think so. I'm not really too sure. In fact, Mark Simon's a friend, and he's going to be coming on the podcast.
That's a crazy building. I mean, that thing is huge.
Right?
See, I live out in Dolgeville. Yeah, I live in Dolgeville, so just short of Dolgeville. So I'm here during the day, I do my work, and then I'm out of the area. So I don't catch a lot of the local news, but there's a lot of good things happening on, in the area. We got that $10 million now to do some work downtown.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
There's a lot of cool things. The thing I like about it too is the young kids are staying around and they're not leaving. They're not jumping ship. My generation jumped ship as quick as they could.
Yeah.
As soon as they got out of high school, boom, they're gone.
Right.
Where these kids today are actually staying. They get out of high school and they're going to Utica College or going to, MVCC, or they're staying local. They're not bouncing to other states. And some of them are doing really cool things in the community. There's a lot of young kids doing some positive things in this community. It's great to see.
Well, I was hoping to circle around back to you because the compliment about all the good things that are happening in the area, I think the timeliness of what you're doing is fantastic.
Thanks, man.
No, really, because, to have all these different podcasts you're doing, to have this live presence in the community in a broadcast arena, it's super.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I love it.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the kind words. Adeline saying huge growth in 3 years. It's true. It has been a lot of growth. We've changed so much. And we keep evolving, and we're going to continue to evolve. We're about to launch another show coming up after the Super Bowl with our boys, Bill and Ryan Vincey from the Empire Plate. When we just launched the Ghost Hunting show, and Heather's killing it on Unstoppable You.
Isn't she amazing?
I love Heather. She's
and then when she brings the whole Puerto Rico end of it into play too, it becomes global then.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
No, she's a super individual.
She is.
Yeah.
She is. And then Meg's killing it on Leveling Up with
with McGrogan, yeah.
Meg McGrogan in the Chamber of Commerce. So we've created a great relationship with them over there, and just a lot of cool things happening. And then the sports content that we have here on the D. Which
let's go back to that with Megan for a second.
Yeah,
you know
for
what?
sure.
I mean, again, I've been around since 1982. So when I was new to the community, okay, I was 23 years old, and so the Chamber and things like the Chamber were these older, antiquated things. I mean, I had to get involved in them because it's kind of like what you did as a business owner.
Right.
But it was this stigma of being older and accomplished. Okay, the Chamber today, I mean, this is like, the Chamber of Opportunity. I mean, it's like what they're doing over there and the energy that they're bringing into the community. I think they've got a ribbon cutting like one every 3 seconds. I mean, it seems, yeah, it's crazy though. But I mean, and so even the timeliness of her presence there and all the good work all the people at the Chamber are doing in the area. This is exciting times.
the Chamber is not that stuffy, good old boy type of like old person, like get off my lawn kid type of attitude anymore.
Right.
You go to these events, they're fun. They're doing cool games. They incorporate a lot of different activities into their events, and they spread the love all over the place. All over the place, they're spreading the love. They're here. They do meetups at anywhere. So we could go on and on where they do their meetups, but there's so many great things that the Chamber of Commerce is doing, and it's all Meg. It's all Meg and Angela and the crew down there at the Chamber of Commerce.
You know, while we're sharing all this love today, I got to give a shout out to all my peeps at BNI.
Yes,
now I know you have been to those meetings.
You weren't there the day I was there.
I know. You know what? I've missed 2 meetings in 2 years. Okay, and one of them you're at, but we've got, if I start dropping names, I'm going to miss people, so I want to be careful. But, I have to mention Steve Karbowski because we meet at the funeral home there. Those guys are gracious, do a great job.
It's a great man, Steve.
Yeah, you got guys like Steve Turnbull Insurance, 5 generations of great service. Mike Martini, the Caladonna family, Clinton Tractor. I mean, what a company that is and community-minded. And the list goes on and on. We've got New York Sash, Rich Sakala, Dan Williams Fence. He was here. The Dan...
the Daniel Barden
Mudfest,
well,
yeah.
I book all the bands for that. Actually.
Yeah, and I'm going to be corralling groups of photographers to actually be there to photograph the event for him. So, and again, the list goes on and on. I can mention everybody in the group, and it's just, again, when I first moved to the area, I was 23. I joined Rotary. I was the youngest guy in Rotary. Okay, I'm proud to say I'm the oldest person in BNI right now. And then, that title actually is up for grabs. If they want to bring a 70-year-old in, that's fine by me. But
welcome that, huh?
The thing I love about it is it's like Mike Martini, Clinton Tractor, he's 24 years old. I think, I don't know if he said he's 23 or 24, but he's young. Steve Turnbull's only like 25. Now I'm the oldest, and I'm going to these meetings with these people who are heavily involved in the community. And I'll tell you what, Monday isn't the start of the week for me. Tuesday is 7:30 Tuesday morning. My week starts because I get energized by all these creatives doing just great stuff.
The energy in that room was remarkable.
And it's weekly.
Yeah.
It's weekly. Every week it's the same thing.
Yeah.
In fact, tonight, that event, the Women's Expo over at the Delta Hotel, Travis Roberts is one of the sales managers over at the Delta.
Yep.
And so I'm going to get to see him, and I know there's going to be a lot of BNI people there. So it's just great.
In fact, Travis just became a volunteer over at the Stanley.
There you go.
I just seen him the other day. We were hanging out, and it's cool. And if this is something I want to get out there really quick, too. If there's any people that are interested in volunteering at the Stanley, please come and hit us up. We're looking for some volunteers over there. I'm trying to get a little more youth into that place.
Oh, absolutely.
We got a lot of cool things happening, and there's great concerts coming up, and of course Broadway Utica's doing some great things over there too. So I'm trying to get some more people involved in the Stanley, because that's the anchor, that's the gem of this city.
Oh, it certainly is.
It really is, and we've got so many great things, and we've got great people involved, and it's such a great family down there. But I want to get more people involved down there. So if you're interested in volunteer at the Stanley, hit me up, or hit up anybody that is involved.
Yeah, I know you
go to
will.
the Stanley themselves. Ha! He's saying get Z an application, Carl, for BNI. I know. The thing with BNI, and I want to do it so bad.
Oh, I know what it is.
It's
when we met for coffee the last time, you were like, we met at 9:30. I like ready for lunch at 9:30.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm just getting up, Of course, I bet you go to bed a lot later than I do.
It's not that. It's the when summertime comes rolling around, I'm gone. I'm on the road.
Absolutely.
And I don't have anybody that's going to sub for me. Mike Marone said he'd sub for me, though.
Mike Marone, he's like the universal sub. He's like, he's a great
Mike.
kid.
I love that dude so much. But, I'm definitely considering joining. It's just the time aspect of things.
Well, the thing
and here, too, is we're a two-man operation around here. There's like nobody else doing anything around here.
Well, it's a lot easier for me. One, it's a quarter mile away from my studio. Two, I don't book too many portrait sessions at 7:30 in the morning. So I get there 7:30 to 9, and then I go to work, and that works. My business is a scheduled business anyway. Mm-hmm. Yours isn't. It's scheduled, but once you schedule it, it's morning, noon, and night.
Yeah, man, it is. But what a great organization! Like I said, that energy and the creativity in that room was unmatched. Just people were so excited, and we're talking about their products, and referral marketing is such a great way to get your stuff out there. And like Heather Beebe is a part of that.
Absolutely.
She does like her life coach stuff over there, and she says it's like a built-in sales team for her.
Yeah, and the benefit, the thing that I really like about it is it's built on getting to know, like, and trust. I mean, so it's relationship building. You're not going to go in there one week. Now, look, if I happen to have a product, let's say your fish tank just blew up. Okay, and I sell fish tanks. Okay, well, yeah, you're probably going to talk to me, and I'll get you a fish tank by the afternoon. But it doesn't work like that all the time. I mean, usually it's a matter of getting to know somebody,
right?
Getting to like them,
building that relationship,
right? Building that relationship, and then you trust them, so that even if you haven't done work with me, let's say you don't have a need for my particular product at a particular time, but you're talking to someone that does, you can refer me, because you've gotten to a level of trusting me and know that I'll take care of them. That's great. That's what you try to develop over time in a community anyway. Yeah. This is just an organized things, and we wind up becoming encouragement partners for one another. So
I love that word. Yeah. Instead of the accountability partners, we're going to change that to encouragement partners.
No, I think that's a good idea.
I think so too. This is going to be a movement that you started, Carl. I'm going to give you full credit on this.
Well, just keep in mind that encouragement sometimes hurts too. I don't want it to go from one extreme where accountability sounds like I'm calling you out all the time,
right?
But then I'm encouraging you means I can't call you out, because sometimes the best thing I can do to encourage you is to give you a kick in the pants.
You feel like there's such thing as over encouragement?
Yeah, you got to know when to back off. Mm-hmm. You got to, because at the end of the day, if you're not going to go to the gym, you're not going to go to the gym, and that's on you.
Right.
I'm going to go to the gym, so.
And that's where the accountability lays in.
Exactly. It's back to the log and the spec again.
Yep.
I can't push you to do something. I can only push myself to do it.
Yeah, no doubt.
So,
no doubt. Well, Carl, we ate up an hour.
Did we really?
I told you, over an hour.
Yeah.
I told you once we get going. But I'd love to have you come back in.
I'd love to be.
And do a honeymooners podcast.
I think that'd be a riot.
I think so, too.
And one thing that we have to tell people about, too, is that, you and I've got some things that we're scheming up about doing a photography podcast.
Yep.
With some remote things, live audience, instructional, but then, entertaining as well.
Yeah.
So
definitely making it educational and teaching people. And, I think it's important for you to document, your stuff, and you got stuff. Okay. For instance, a woman once told me, she's like, see, how come you don't have any kids? And it's like, well, she's like, you got to leave something behind. I said, well, I do leave stuff behind. I leave music behind. I leave my podcast behind. This is something I'm leaving behind. It's part of your legacy as well, my
Absolutely.
friend. And I would love to be a part of all that.
Yeah.
So let's definitely you communicate and get this thing up and rolling, and I think it would be fun. And then Todd's here, and we'll sit here and talk a little bit about
Sounds great.
and stuff. But this is great, man. And yes, let's definitely have you come back and do a Honeymooners podcast and whatever. If you've got an event you want to promote or something going on, or please keep us in mind and use my platform.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, I really appreciate being here today.
Great talk today, man. Great talk. I want to thank EJA Moving Services, Utica Hemp, Saranac, and of course our friends over at Utica Coffee for this podcast. You can listen to this podcast and previous podcasts of EC Radio and all the content we have here on the DisruptionNetwork.net. I'm a big Spotify guy.
Are you?
Yeah. Are you in Spotify at all?
I'm not in it, but I'm familiar with it.
Spotify is has changed the way I listen to music now.
Really?
Yeah, it keeps you current on a lot of the things that are coming up just based on what you listen to automatically.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
But then you can listen to all these podcasts on Spotify, and just there's a lot of great stuff on Spotify. I'm hooked on it. So
I'll have to check it out.
I am promoting myself on Spotify.
There you go.
Go to EC Radio on Spotify. Click the follow button, please, people. Also, you can rate us on Apple Podcasts and Google Play, and as well as Stitcher, too. You can find us on Stitcher. And, of course, DisruptionNetwork.net. Carl, what are you doing February 8th?
I don't know. What's February
I think
8th?
you need to come to our anniversary party.
Oh, sounds great.
3-year anniversary party.
Where is it?
It's going to be at the Jewish Community Center, which is on Oneida Street in Utica. It starts at 6 o'clock, and we've got amazing entertainment.
And that's a Saturday?
It's a Saturday night.
You got anybody photographing it for you?
No. You want to come down?
Can I
and
do
take
that
some
for you?
pictures?
I'll do that for you. It'd be my pleasure.
Yeah. Come on down. More the merrier.
Yeah.
The band's probably going to bring a photographer, but it doesn't matter. We need to get it documented.
Yeah, and you need something for your sake.
For sure.
Right, and I'll be happy to do that for you.
For sure. Awesome.
Yep.
Cool. February 8th. So what's happening? Haley in the Water, which is Haley Jane, an amazing artist. She's awesome. And then Annie in the Water. Are you familiar with those guys?
No.
Great band. Kind of fairly local. They're in the region.
Name Bill Gaither ring any bells to you?
What's that?
Bill Gaither?
No.
Yeah, see? We're even.
Well, Fleetwood Mac have anything
Oh,
to you?
come on. I was watching Fleetwood Mac before you were born.
Well, they're going to be covering Rumors from front to back.
Really?
On
Sweet.
February 8th.
Sweet.
From front to back. So we have 3 different bands, and then at the end, it's called...
I saw them at SPAC.
Did you?
Oh, yeah, years ago.
Wow. So it's like the 45th anniversary.
Yeah, we don't want to go there.
Of Rumors, and that's why they're covering it.
Yeah, right.
So they're doing a whole tour of it, and we were lucky enough to get them on our anniversary party on this tour.
How sweet.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Wow.
So what's going to happen is Live Noah's going to start first. He'll do a quick little acoustic set. Then Haley Jane, then our boys Trampoline Jetstream, then Annie in the Water, and then at the end, right around, I say about 10:30, we're going to do the Fleetwood Mac tribute.
Wow.
And we'll be out of there by about 11:30.
I'll be there.
Hopefully. Yeah, come down, take pictures. It's going to be great. Plenty of tickets available. So you guys go to our website, DisruptionNetwork.net, purchase tickets. Tickets are doing pretty well, too. A lot of people are grabbing them up. So we're going to have food. We're going to have beer, wine. There's going to be a party for everybody. It's definitely going to be good. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going on February 8th, JCC, our 3-year anniversary party. I'm looking forward to it. Yes, that would be great. I'd love to have you come in and document a bunch of the stuff that's going to go on, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be some antics.
Yep.
Carl, thanks again for coming in.
Thank you, Anthony.
Here's more on the anniversary
I
party.
just called you Anthony, didn't I?
It's okay. You and my mom are
See?
you and my mom are the only ones that do that. So, but you know what? Anthony's my name. I prefer it. You know?
There you go.
Z is something I got stuck with about 25 years ago. And
Yeah, right.
I can never shake it, but it's all good. I guess it's my other personality.
There you go.
Carl, much love to you. Plug your photography business too. You got a website and all that you'd like to?
Yeah, KarlErmisch.com.
KarlErmisch.com.
Yep, we got a really great Valentine special going now for portraits of women. Not only photographing the outer beauty, but the inner beauty as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff. You should check it out.
And we can find you on Instagram and Facebook and all that?
Instagram, Karl Ermisch. Facebook, they're watching on Facebook now. So
awesome, cool.
Yep.
Share, like, comment, subscribe, follow, all that social media lingo. Find Carl all over. You can just Google you, really.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
find you through there as well. So,
Right.
much love to you, Carl. We'll see you tomorrow. Later.
Join us Saturday, February 8th through the Disruption Network 3-year anniversary party at the Jewish Community Center, 2310 Oneida Street in Utica, New York. Musical acts include Annie in the Water, acoustic performance by Haley Jane, Trampoline Jetstream, and Live Noah. Haley in the Water will cap off the night covering Fleetwood Mac's hit album, Rumors. Party kicks off at 6 p.m. There will be beer, wine, food from Doughboys Barbecue, and Holy Pozzoli. Saturday, February 8th. For tickets, visit our website, DisruptionNetwork.net.